Congresswoman and former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is pushing back against fellow Democrats, calling for Senator Dianne Feinstein to resign. On Wednesday, she told a reporter, quote, "It's interesting to me. I don't know what political agendas are at work that are going after Senator Feinstein in a way that I've never seen them go after a man who was sick in the Senate in that way." Pelosi's rebuke comes after California Congressman Ro Khanna took to Twitter urging Feinstein to step down, tweeting, quote, "It's time for Senator Feinstein to resign. We need to put the country ahead of personal loyalty. While she has had a lifetime of public service, it is obvious she can no longer fulfill her duties. Not speaking out undermines our credibility as elected representatives of the people." Congressman Dean Phillips joined Khanna in calling for the longtime senator to call it quits.
Feinstein has not been in Washington since early February after being hospitalized for shingles. She released a statement yesterday confirming that though her recovery has taken longer than expected, she, quote, intends to return as soon as possible. In that same statement, she asked to be relieved of her role in the Senate Judiciary Committee until coming back to the Senate. But according to a Politico report, her close confidants on the Hill are feeling some angst about her ever coming back to work. Since her absence, work in the Judiciary Committee has come to a grinding halt. Currently, 14 of President Biden's judicial nominations are pending. The panel has already had to cancel 3 committee markups for nominees. This is incredible own goal on the part of Democratic leadership to allow Senator Feinstein to remain in office. She is holding up. I mean, this has to be, you have to be having flashbacks to RBG not retiring. It is so similar. It's even affecting it in the same way, judicial appointments of Democrats. I mean, right now, she's Republicans' best friend right now. She is very, very old.
She's 89 years old. She'll be 90 in June.
It's clearly, everybody ages differently, but there is plenty of reporting now that it is affecting her mental state, that there's a lot of people close to her have said she doesn't really know what's going on.
We're not even getting into, this isn't even a cognitive impairment issue.
She is having actual health issues that have kept her out of Washington so that the business of this committee cannot move forward. Look, it's just obviously not acceptable. She should resign. It's California. There's not even a risk really that she'd have an appointed replacement or something. Like, Republicans are not going to wrest control of this seat somehow because she steps down early, which is not the same. There have been other scenarios where that would not be the same thing.
The Ruth Bader Ginsburg comparison is an appropriate one because at the time, whereas many folks that were more independent-minded or on the left pointed out that it was an incredibly bad form for her not to step down during Obama's first term. He obviously had some issues with appointments in his second term. Mm-hmm. But her stated rationale for not stepping down was that, of course, Hillary Clinton was going to win and that she wanted her replacement. She wanted the first woman president of the United States of America to replace her. So purely on the basis of hubris, much like Dianne Feinstein, Ruth Bader Ginsburg had ongoing health issues, no cognitive impairments, but was struggling with pancreatic cancer, which is one of the most, unfortunately, lethal kinds of cancers that there are. And so the sheer hubris to stay in office, knowing how much weight is put on that decision. And at the same time, when Hillary Clinton did lose, what was incredible was so many liberals didn't put the onus on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and when Roe and Casey were overturned, they didn't put the onus on Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the liberals that said it was she-boss, girl power feminism to say that she should stay in office as long as she wants, that it was independents like myself, Green Party voters and the like, who caused abortion to be overturned, not the selfish choices of one woman. So here we are again with Dianne Feinstein, and just recently now, we were all told that it was sexist in much the same way that Nancy Pelosi is saying this now, that it's sexist to argue that a Judiciary Committee member should step aside so that the work of appointing justices can get done. By the way, the work of appointing justices, the Supreme Court, these federal courts, is so much the bully pulpit of the Democratic Party to get disaffected Democratic voters to fall in line and vote for them. Their whole raison d'etre of the party at this point is just, okay, I know you hate us, but we got to keep the courts.
Yeah.
Even that being the case, they're sitting here and telling us that feminism, this faux, silly,
I don't remember them
feminism.
saying this about a man. I mean, I guess, is she impugning Fetterman there because Democrats are not calling for him to be replaced or something like that.
Maybe. Look, if Fetterman was missing some votes that was holding up a committee that wasn't able to, then he should have also said, take me off the committee. If that's, this is obviously something that could have been done, and now they're doing it. I don't know why it's taken so long, frankly. Is it a personal pride issue? Is it everybody tiptoeing around her? No. The second she wasn't there for the first vote, they should have just taken her off. It's not like she's, I'm sorry, contributing much, obviously, to the workings of this thing anyway. So if the cognitive impairment stuff from the last election cycle didn't get you, the shingles certainly should. And it's ridiculous that at this juncture, it's considered to be sexism to point out the obvious.
It is hilarious. I mean, it's darkly funny. Not funny really at all, but it for Nancy Pelosi to go there. It's just, that's the easiest, most natural thing for a Nancy Pelosi or a Hillary Clinton type to reach for, right? It's like, well, how dare you come for, strong women? There's a place in hell if you're not standing up for them, that kind of thing.
Now, I will say, Nancy Pelosi is a very fit and together 83. Mm-hmm. This isn't like an ageism issue, but the problem with Nancy Pelosi is her having been in Congress for 30 plus years. And the fact that we have a handful of names in political dynasties that rule our entire country. Moreover, her making these shifts to de-escalate calls for reforms with respect to Congress members being allowed to do insider trading, changing the schedule around to those kind of very popular forms of legislation that it was very uncomfortable for her to oppose, don't actually get a floor vote. These are the kinds of things that she should be more concerned about than pantomiming some bizarre kind of girl boss feminism.
Yeah, we continue to be ruled by the oldest government ever in the history of the country, and they cling to power. People just don't retire. They live longer than they did 200 years ago, and they never give it up.
Now, I will say Ro Khanna got some pushback over this because people perceive him to be kind of self-interested, with designs of being a senator himself.
Well, he's not going to have an easy path to it. There's a lot of people. Katie Porter wants it. Yeah. Barbara Lee wants it.
Katie Porter just got hit with one might characterize it as a hit piece, one might characterize it as journalism, whatever it is, with accusations that she is in an abusive relationship with her husband. I mean, this is about to be a really ugly race. Mm-hmm. This is about to be a dirty, dirty fight because it's a big seat. It's an important seat. There's a reason why I'm sure Dianne Feinstein hasn't wanted to let it go. I mean, California is the nation's biggest economy. Mm-hmm. It would be like the 5th biggest economy in the world.
But she was in an abusive marriage, right? Because they're not.
Oh yeah, they're separated.
Yeah.
But they had decided to separate, but then live in the same house, and apparently that was a toxic stew that led to a number of behaviors that people are saying, if the genders were reversed, would look very bad. I don't want to get it too far into that particular story now. Maybe we can cover it at another time. But that, I think, is evidence of the kind of thing you're going to see coming out of a race that it's as hotly contested as this one.
Yeah, it should be hotly contested. Amazing. Well, we'll get to the work of the Judiciary Committee at some point in the future. Republicans have to be loving this, just loving this. Fascinating. Yeah. Okay, more Rising right after this.